How strange.
Please forget the lateness of the hour.
Something wicked this way comes.
This is the Nighttime Blues.
Spooky.
Power is better than you think.
And now, with your permission,
good evening, dear listener, and welcome to the Nighttime Blues. This is Collin Marx speaking. Do you listen to the radio? Well, I guess you're listening to this, but generally speaking, probably in your car, if you have a car. Radio is often considered a dead medium by some, and I can understand why. Why submit yourself to one more minute of Joe Blow and dickhead in the morning if you don't have to? But did you know radio still reaches 98% of Americans every day? 98%. That is a very astonishing number. Almost all of those people are people stuck in their car during rush hour. We love driving in America. I actually love the radio. I will admit, most of it on both the AM and FM bands today is hot garbage. But I just can't help but be a little romantic about it. I've been listening since I was a kid. I think it started with baseball. I would watch Chicago Cubs games with my grandfather, but he preferred the radio broadcasters, Pat Hughes and Ron Santo, over the television broadcasters, so we would mute the television and sync it up with the radio. Soon I was doing that on my own. I have many fond memories watching those games, listening to those guys while I mowed lawns or something during the summer. And at night I would listen to J Hood on the local sports station recapping the day's games. This is where I discovered the madness of callers, people who call into the station, especially in the middle of the night. Felt like the Wild West. Only the strangest people were calling at that point in the night. I soon started exploring other parts of the dial. I would just surf the airwaves, just searching for whatever strangeness may come my way. And it was strange. I would encounter lots of fire and brimstone, Bible thumpers. Honestly, that was probably 90% of it. But I would hear people like Art Bell taking calls about something crazy, conversing with the night people about their abduction experiences or their theories on the moon being hollow. I mean, you name it. And that was pretty exciting. Felt like anything could happen. And it did. But soon as I got older, I was looking for music. There was a lot of CCM on the dial, a lot of contemporary pop and hip hop, a lot of norteño. We had a lot of good local music showcases on the stations too. XRT, Q101, they did a really good job. I remember tuning into some station right at the moment of, right as I turned the dial, I just heard do 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 dun 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 dun, and I was hearing Just What I Needed by the Cars for the first time. And it really was just what I needed. I'm not exaggerating when I say that that song changed my life. It introduced me to so much music, so much potential from that one song at that one moment. So when I was shaping the record that was going to become something wicked, I knew that I wanted this radio experience I had and the feeling that came with it to be a part of the listener's experience as well. I wasn't trying to make like a concept album, but I think the radio and that experience was sort of a North Star, and it helped shape the final product in some way. I ended up with what would be the opening track of the album called Quiet Please. And it's sort of collage. It functions as an entryway, a doorway into the record itself. Almost like it's like a prelude. And there's lots of radio Easter eggs on that track and all throughout the album as well. Music and talk. That's what radio has mostly become. Even more specifically, major label pop music and right-wing nutjob talk. It's sad, really. I mean, when radio was introduced, it had a almost utopian possibility for people. I mean, we don't consider how crazy the idea of radio really is. For the first time in human history, one person could broadcast their thoughts, their art, their ideas to millions of people all over the earth. Lots of early writings on the medium of radio grappled with this idea that radio, that broadcasting, had the potential to change the world, to influence public opinion, to shape people's realities. And as I'm saying this out loud, it's starting to sound oddly prescient. And by World War II, the use of radio was in full force. The Nazis immediately realized the power of the new medium, and they were broadcasting dozens of shortwave stations, some directly intended for Americans. One of these broadcasters was known as Axis Sally. She was an American, born in Maine. Born Mildred Gillers was her real name. And through a series of events, ended up in Berlin. Soon she was trying to influence the morale of the GIs in Europe and their families' opinions on the war back home. Look her up. I mean, it really is dangerous stuff. Broadcasting whatever you want directly into the brain of whomever. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Luckily, you're in good hands. For this reason, departments like the FCC were created. The airwaves were public, after all. They are as natural to the earth as our trees and our water, and the public has the right to maintain them. At least that was the idea, but who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the FCC sells them off to the finance bros any day now. But I guess that's a different story. Did you know that many of these preachers you hear on the radio are just recordings of the same, few guys? They're like Grateful Dead shows or Springsteen bootlegs or something. There's this large archive of 4 preachers. And since most of these stations are owned by religious groups, they just play these guys on infinite loop. That's it. It's not even live. It's never live. It's just generic evergreen Jesus content for them to spam the public airwaves. Anyway, so with the FCC keeping tabs on who's able to broadcast and what they can broadcast, we started to see a real, slightly homogenized radio industry and culture develop. We have a post-war boom in the US. We have recording technology improve pretty dramatically. We have rock and roll. Transistor radios allowed this newly coined demographic of, quote, teenagers, end quote, listen to their favorite stations wherever they were, wherever they went in their fancy new automobile from this newly created middle class thing. But what if you wanted something outside of that usual fare? What if you wanted to start your own station? Well, I mean, as it became cost prohibitive to do so, many took matters into their own hands and started broadcasting illegally. These radio pirates were especially popular in the UK, where the BBC had a much more intense restrictions on what could be broadcast, and rock and roll was not high on that list. So these stations, such as the infamous Radio Caroline, would take boats, I'm talking big passenger ferries, old decommissioned ones. They'd take them out into international waters and broadcast across the ocean to their listeners back on the island. Considering it was international waters, there wasn't much the government could do about it there. How fun. There are some other interesting UK broadcast moments. Let's see. In 1977, there was the audio of a television news broadcast just dropped out. The picture remained the same, but the audio dropped out, and suddenly viewers were hearing the voice of someone claiming to be Vrillian, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command. And Vrillian was on the air, unbeknownst to the news anchors, for 6 whole minutes. Vrillian used that time to send a message to humanity, something about how we need to change our ways and live in harmony, you know, the drill. And so this is Vrillian's sign off. Vrillian signed off with, "May you be blessed by the supreme love and truth of the cosmos." And then he was never heard from again. Well, the network acknowledged that it was like a hoax, and they were never able to find out who did it, though. It's not like these things are easy to do. So, I don't know. I mean, Vrillian's got the right idea, at least. Actually, a similar thing happened closer to where I grew up, but it was on TV. In Chicago in 1987, here's the scene. 11 p.m., middle of the night, local public television station, PBS, was airing an episode of Doctor Who. And suddenly the signal, the whole image, audio, cut out, static, and suddenly it's replaced by an image of a person in a mask as the character Max Headroom. It's like a big, square-jawed, rubber mask guy with sunglasses. And this Max Headroom character is just speaking nonsense, basically, in this very spooky-sounding, modulated voice.
Some dry
Gesturing wildly. It's got this weird, distorted, disorienting kind of background. Did you hear him mention Chuck Swirsky? That was the then and still current play-by-play broadcaster for the Chicago Bulls. He then proceeded to pull down his pants and be spanked with a fly swatter by someone off screen. And then finally, after minutes of this, the broadcast abruptly ended and the episode of Doctor Who continued. So what do we make of this? Definitely not aliens this time. Pranksters, to be sure, but they were also never caught. And I have to give them a pat on the back for giving us a great story to those who are up late watching Doctor Who. You know, it's people like this that make it interesting. I don't know. I've heard plenty of rumors of who it could be over the years, but no one's ever come forward. Any listeners of this show want to share some inside information about this, I promise their secret is safe. Reach out.
Break a bluebird. You have a coffee on the mobile here.
Come on, Baker. Hello, Big Daddy. How are you?
They made her an honorary butterfly. I heard she's going to be one of the bunnies in the new bunny club.
We take it all for granted, this medium of broadcast. We do it on the internet all the time. It's become the norm. This notion of sharing your thoughts or your art or whatever with a large audience, of capturing the attention and perhaps the intention of huge swaths of people. There's something very mystical about the radio and about the radio waves themselves even. I mean, you were tapping into the earth, the magnetic resonance of the planet to even do this. Famous inventor and slight eccentric Nikola Tesla claimed that he was receiving radio signals from Martians. And famous idea stealer Thomas Edison began working on a device that used radio waves to contact the dead. Harnessing these invisible waves in our atmosphere speak to something, I don't know, something about the unknown, the things that are invisible to us, but are always around us. Still, there are some strange things on the radio in our modern day. I mean, there's these things called number stations. They're like obscure shortwave stations that will sometimes continually, sometimes intermittently, broadcast strange sounds, numbers, voices, songs, melodies, other audio oddities. Nobody knows why. They're everywhere. They play on a pretty regular schedule.
Achtung, Achtung, 3, 9, 4, 8, 3, 9, 4, 8, 5, 6, 0, 1.
It's theorized, it's pretty much accepted that it's some sort of espionage, a way for spies to communicate with someone. And I think that is a pretty good guess. But there's tons of them. They're secretly out there broadcasting all sorts of things at all times of day and night. There's also a weird station, not a number station, but a radio signal coming out of Russia known as UVB-76, aka the Buzzer. In 1997, it started broadcasting a series of short, monotonous buzzing tones. 24 hours a day. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Why? Great question. No one knows. We know it's broadcasting out of Russia. The weird part is every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, the buzzing will be interrupted by a live human voice. Something like this.
А можно шутку рассказать? Один да, два нет.
It's an odd one. Usually, number stations will broadcast, well, like numbers or something. Something that could be something that could be a code. But this is just a buzz. A few times, distant conversations and other background noises have been heard in the station, like behind the buzzer. So whatever the noise is, it's not even being generated internally. It really seems like they might just have some buzzing device pointed at a live microphone 24/7. It's very odd, but who knows? Supposedly, even, the tone that we are hearing is generated by the same kind of tone wheel used by none other than the Hammond organ. The very same organ used on records by Booker T, Jimmy Smith, Greg Allman, yours truly, and countless others. How wild is that? So maybe that's the reason I love it. Because radio just reminds me that the world is weird. The medium itself is weird. It's invisible waves moving through the air, bouncing off the ionosphere, passing through our bodies, through our walls, into our lives, into our brains. And yet we just never think about it. It's always there. And every so often, something slips through the static. You know, a song you need to hear, or a voice you weren't expecting, some sort of signal. Radio makes space for the strangeness. And if you're lucky and you're listening, you might catch some of that too.
Come on, break.
Yeah, so don't you think your good buddy got it turned up a little too high?
Who has it turned up too high?
Well, the good buddy was talking in the mic. How about the rotor?
I have a rotor already.
A rotor already? That sounds like a rotor.
I was trying to think of a movie. Did you see Lilies in the Field?
No.
You see Pinocchio?
No, I don't see too many movies, but keep naming them.
When you ever see a movie, let's see, it sort of has like a sad ending, sort of, you know what I mean? And, you feel kind of funny.
Like Bambi. What funny are you talking about?
Any old movie, Glenn, come on.
Jump.
Jump.
Hey, you going to go down here tomorrow morning? Down where? What do you mean, down where? Where? You're going to be lost. Who is this?
I'll give you for instance if you want it. Maybe you don't, and if you do, you do. If you don't, I'm going to give it to you anyway. No, but if you ever want to be nasty with me, well, that means our friendship will cease. And, well, yeah, I just won't talk to you anymore, that's it.
Look about to it, so I'll jump down your throat.
It's easy to hate the radio, there's no doubt about that. And even though that song is about 40 years old now, the sentiment probably rings true now more than ever. But maybe it will have a renaissance. Who knows? Like I said, it's quite the magical medium, and I hope we could find a place for it in our future media landscape. But until then, you still have me. But this show is over. So, thank you for listening. Wherever you are, in the city or out in the sticks, or even in the space in between, I hope the nighttime treats you kindly. This is Collin Marx, and you've been listening to The Nighttime Blues.
The Nighttime Blues is written, produced, and scored by Collin Marx. To explore more, visit collinmarx.net. This broadcast is best listened to after dark.